I've been through a lot in my life, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the sight of a wrecking ball tearing through the home I built with my own two hands. Yeah, you heard me right. I left for a 6-week trip to see my daughter and my grandkids, and when I rolled back into town, the damn HOA was demolishing my lake house, claiming I owed fees to an association I was never even part of. You ever feel that kind of cold, hollow gut punch? That was me, standing there at 6 in the morning, boots in the dirt, watching decades of memories get crushed. My late wife's piano, splintered like kindling, the kitchen sink I installed by hand now twisted up in a pile of debris. And all I got was some smug foreman waving a clipboard in my face, acting like this was just another Tuesday on the job. He tells me, straight-faced, "You're part of the HOA now." Can you imagine? My home, my little slice of peace, steamrolled because of a vote I never knew about. But as the HOA president stood there, looking so proud, thinking she'd won, she had no clue I was about to flip the whole script. Because what she didn't know was, I secretly owned the one thing that could bring her whole operation crashing down, and every single home in her little kingdom with it. Stick around, because you're about to see what real ownership looks like. Let me know where you're watching from, because this one's for anyone who's ever been bulldozed by people who thought they had all the power. I remember that morning, pulling my old RV off the main road, tired but happy after weeks with the family. I was ready for home. The gravel on my private drive crunching under the tires, sun barely up, the lake shining in the distance. That peace lasted about 12 seconds. I smelled diesel and smoke. Nothing like a wood fire, more like a disaster zone. I'd been a fire chief for 30 years, so I know that scent. It means something bad happened. I eased the RV around the last bend, and my heart just about stopped. Where my house should have been, there was nothing but rubble. Men in hard hats. A big yellow excavator. A wall of my living room still standing like a sad, broken gravestone, everything else just gone. And then I saw it, my wife's piano. Smashed. She played every evening, her music floating across the water. Now, just trash, keys scattered like teeth. I could barely breathe, but I walked right up, boots in the dust. The foreman meets me, clipboard held like a shield, tells me I can't be here. I told him, this is my home. He doesn't even blink. Just flips his paperwork. We posted the demo notice 3 times, buddy. You didn't pay your HOA dues. I swear, I could have laughed if I wasn't so mad. I'm not in your HOA. I told him, staring him down. I own these 12 acres, and my land's not part of your tract. He just shrugs. You are now. That's when I knew I was dealing with something deeper than a clerical error. Let me back up a sec. 12 years ago, some hotshot developer bought up all the farmland around me, wanting to build Heron Creek Estates, subdivision, fancy street names, the works. He offered to buy me out, but my wife and I, we weren't selling. We hammered out a deal, brought in surveyors, and made sure my land was carved out, iron stakes in the ground, separate parcel, separate deed, everything by the book. I watched them build that neighborhood, set up their HOA, all their rules about lawn height and mailbox color. I never gave it another thought. My property was my own, or so I believed. But as I'm standing in the wreckage, numb with shock, the foreman finally calls off his crew. I check my mailbox, buried in junk mail and bills, 2 envelopes from the Heron Creek HOA. One's a certified letter claiming I owed $3 grand in dues and late fees. The other's minutes from a meeting, circled in red, voting to annex my land into the HOA for aesthetic cohesion. That was it. They voted me in, never told me, then bulldozed my life while I was away with family. My hands shook, not with fear, but with pure, icy rage. This wasn't a mistake. It was theft, plain and simple. So I called the county records office. Nice lady answers, checks the records, no condemnation, taxes paid, nothing on file to justify a demolition. But she did see the demo permit, filed by the HOA. Only problem? According to their own maps, my land wasn't even in their jurisdiction. I felt my old training kicking in. Never panic, get the facts, find the point of origin. I asked to see the actual permit, and when she emailed it, my heart just sank. My signature was on it. Perfect, too perfect. I remembered signing a roofing permit on a digital pad 8 years ago, after a hailstorm. The signature matched exactly. They'd copied it from old county records and slapped it onto a demolition order. Not just overreach, outright fraud. I sat in my RV, turned command center, scanning every email, security camera file, old permit. No HOA notices in my inbox. My cameras, motion activated, always uploading, never caught a single person posting anything on my door. They lied about the notices. It was all a setup. I dug deeper, hit their HOA website, poked through broken links and dead forums, and there it was, an old thread from the HOA president, Linda Rosiel, calling me an eyesore, planning to force a compliance lien because I wouldn't sell. They were gonna make it make sense. She wasn't shy about her intentions. I matched the forged signature on the demolition order with my old roofing permit. Blue-tinted digital signature versus black, flat photocopy. The real kicker? The PDF file metadata showed it was last edited on a home computer registered to Linda R. at 2:07 a.m. This was no accident. Next day, I sat down with Sheriff Miller, who I'd known for years. I laid out everything. The fake permit, security footage, forum posts, timestamps, forged signature. He listened, face getting grimmer by the minute. Jack, officially, file a complaint and we'll open a case. Off the record, this isn't the first time Linda's HOA has pulled a stunt like this. He handed me a list of names, neighbors who'd been threatened or fined into silence. Most gave up, paid the fines, let the HOA walk all over them. Not me. I needed proof, hard evidence. That's when I called Doug Stitch Mallister, retired structural engineer, Vietnam vet, and a legend in this county. He was at my place in an hour, coffee in hand, cane in the other. Stitch took one look at the mess and said, "This wasn't a collapse. This was an execution." We spent hours walking the wreckage, his drone mapping every inch of the foundation. Solid as the day I poured it, no sign of failure. We printed photos, dug out blueprints, matched every code and standard. Stitch's report? My house was better than code. There was no reason to tear it down. The HOA's inspection report was another fake, signed by Bill Johnson, but the real inspector spelled it Johnson. Arrogant and sloppy, just like every bully who thinks nobody's watching. That night, I found a thumb drive inside my wife's ruined piano. On it, a video message from her, recorded for our grandkids, telling stories, and, right at the end, looking straight into the camera. Things break, but they'll never take away what matters, not from you. What we build inside, what we build together, that's forever. I'll tell you. Right then, all the anger burned away, replaced with a fierce resolve. I wasn't just fighting for a house. I was fighting for her, and for every neighbor bullied into silence. I prepped for 2 days, coffee and determination, organizing evidence packets, calling everyone Sheriff Miller had listed. People told me their stories. A man fined for a fence 6 inches past a made-up line. A woman threatened with liens over the wrong shade of beige on her house. Most were too scared to fight. But now, I had the proof they needed. The night of the HOA board meeting, I sat in the back while Linda ran things like a dictator, shooting down every request with that fake smile. When I stood up, room got quiet. I handed out packets, maps, fake permits, Stitch's report, showed the real property lines, the forged signatures, the phony inspection. Then, for good measure, played a recording of Linda herself, admitting on the forum to redrawing boundary lines just to get at me. The room went dead silent. Linda tried to bluff. This is a violation of privacy. The lawyer tried to sound tough, threatening lawsuits, but I just smiled. I'm not going to court. I'm going to title. See, what Linda and her crew never understood was that 20 years ago, when the developer went bankrupt, I bought the land the roads were built on, the mineral rights, the utility easements, everything underneath their precious neighborhood. The HOA only had an easement, a legal right to use my land, not own it. And as of that morning, I'd revoked every single one. Heron Creek Lane was now a private road, my road. No access, no utilities, nothing. Panic broke out, residents shouting, demanding answers. I made it clear. I'd allow a 48-hour window to get their affairs in order, then the gate was going up. They turned on Linda in an instant, screaming about property values, being stranded. The board crumbled. Linda tried to regain control, but her authority vanished. A man came up to me. His wife's mother needed a wheelchair ramp and Linda had denied the permit. I told him loud enough for everyone. Get your permit from the county, build your ramp. If the HOA shows up, they're trespassing. His smile, slow and grateful, said it all. Linda, cornered, called the sheriff, claiming I was blocking a public road. When the deputies arrived, I calmly showed them the title, the maps, the mountain of evidence. The senior deputy took one look at it all: wire fraud, forgery, conspiracy. He called the FBI. Turns out, forging signatures on federal documents and using the mail for fraudulent notices? That's a federal crime. The investigation moved fast. The FBI subpoenaed the HOA's records, found a secret slush fund, caught Linda's right hand forging signatures, everything. 3 weeks later, the agents arrested Linda at the next HOA meeting, handcuffing her in front of everyone. That's how her reign ended. Not with a bang, but with the cold click of cuffs. The civil case was open and shut. HOA's insurer paid me nearly $1 million, covering the house and damages. First thing I did was hire a construction crew, rebuild my home, but better, storm shelter, ADA ramp, everything. Residents, now free of Linda, asked me to help with the road. We drew up a new agreement. No fines, no bull, just neighbors helping neighbors. I even helped build that wheelchair ramp. They thought ownership was about paperwork and power trips. Truth is, ownership is about the ground you stand on and what you're willing to fight for. In the end, it's not the house that matters. It's what you build and who you stand with when someone tries to take it all away. So what do you think? Was I right to go nuclear, or did I go too far? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear what you'd do if someone tried to steal everything you built. And hey, if you've ever tangled with an HOA or had to fight for what's yours, share your story. I want to hear it.